Step number 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable.
I've been an addict for over 20 years, and I relived step 1 several times. Basically, being powerless over my drug. I been to several rehabs, and come right back to step 1, completely powerless over it. At this point, I'm kind of to the point of where you say you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, I'm at that point, and that's why I'm doing this inpatient treatment.
And I didn't admit I was powerless over it until that day I got fired, and my life had become unmanageable.
So let's take a look. The 12 steps. We admit it. Well, let's stop right there. We admit it. What is that implying right there?
Confess.
Huh?
Confess.
I like what he said. Confess. In other words, I spit it out my mouth, and obviously somebody else heard me. Am I right? Huh? See, it's one thing to say it to yourself, but it's another thing to say it out in the open. Because once we say it out in the open, now that begins to qualify us. In other words, there's a record of what we said. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
We were powerless over alcohol. Well, that's a statement. And you notice I broke off just the first 2 words and stopped. Because I wanted us to take a detailed look at these steps. The genius involved in writing them, and what we need to take a look at. We were powerless over alcohol. Well, I know I was shooting cocaine Dilatas. And as a grown man, anybody in here ever seen a Dilata?
Yeah.
It is literally the size of a pinhead, am I right?
Right.
In fact, if you had 20 of them in your pocket, you better keep track of them because they're easy to lose, am I right?
That's right.
And don't dare drop one on the ground because you may not ever find it, am I right?
That's right.
Yeah. I remember telling myself, that thing is the size of a pinhead. I'm a grown man, 5'9". What are you talking about? Powerless over something that literally is almost a speck. I find a great deal of difficulty trying to wrap my mind around that. I don't know about y'all. But I find a great deal of difficulty trying to wrap my mind around the fact that I couldn't handle something that was literally as big as a speck. Powerless over it. That our lives had become unmanageable. Well, to me, I had a $1,500 a day habit. I thought I was doing good. You got to be able to do something if you can get up on that kind of money, am I right? I thought when I said I was going to cop, I was actually making the statement myself. I'm going to cop. What I didn't know is that addiction was making the statement for me. It was telling me I was going to cop. Because there were many times I went to go get it and I was tired as all get out. Am I right?
Right.
There were many times I went to get it, I was hungry, could have ate a wild bear. Am I right? Huh? There were many times that I was cold, and guess what? And went outside anyway. It was hot out there. I went out there anyway. I wanted to sleep, and guess what? Wouldn't sleep. So understanding unmanageable, that came a little easier actually than trying to deal with the powerless part. Because all I had to do was start just taking a look at my life, and pretty soon, you know what? Unmanageable started to get real clear to me. You know, when you look at an addiction at the DSM-5, it says compulsive, unmanageable behavior characterized by tolerance and a loss of control. Now that's what it does when you look in the mental health diagnostic manual regarding addiction. That's what it says it is. Well, how about this for a practical explanation? I did things I didn't want to do. Is that unmanageable? I did things I didn't want to do.
That's unmanageable.
Yeah. I went places I didn't want to go. You know what? Have you ever been with somebody and you hated their guts, but they had the bomb? Yeah, and you hung with them anyway? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever been at the dope table and saw something disgusting happen and you act just like you didn't see it in there?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You look right on over it anyway, and you knew doggone well it was wrong. Am I right? I loved my mother dearly till the day she died, but guess what? Getting high had me lying to her for 20 years with tears coming down her cheek. I lied to her anyway, and guess what? I knew that woman loved me and I loved her. See, so getting a grip on unmanageable, it wasn't as difficult as trying to get a grip on powerlessness. See, I struggled with powerlessness for a long time. In fact, you know, I was fortunate enough to have graduated from college and go to graduate school before I went to the penitentiary 4 times. I went to the penitentiary 4 times after that. So my intellect was in play. Well, this is what I discovered, though. The more intellect you sit on, the more difficult it becomes a lot of times to internalize this information or even understand it. Because that intellect, or as Dr. Bob and Bill W. say, those airtight rationalizations keep jumping in the way. See, because I had an explanation. First thing I said, they're picking on me because I'm black. Anybody never said that?
Yeah.
Then I said, it's a conspiracy out to get me. Anybody ever said that?
Yeah.
Then I said, they don't like me because I'm smart. Anybody ever said that? Oh, I had all kind of airtight rationalizations that addiction was feeding me that I was using over the years to continue to use. It was feeding me all those rationalizations. But that first step, you know, we look at that first step, and most of us want to look away because when we see that word powerless up there, guess what? It does something to us internally, and we have a tendency to want to not even look and read anymore after that. Because as human beings, we like to think that we have dominion over everything. And the mere thought that something is controlling us bothers us immensely. We have a great deal of difficulty with that. But the truth of the matter is, all you got to do is take an honest look at your life and you'll clearly see that you was powerless. Guess what? Because how many people in here tried to stop before? Put your hands up. Tried on several occasions, am I right? Tried several different ways, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. How many people in here sometimes have gone 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks without using? Put your hands up. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to prove to yourself that you had control over it, am I right?
Right.
Huh? And then you looked up, guess what? And you was using again 3, 4 months down the line, am I right?
Right.
Yeah. Unmanageable. That's what it means, unmanageable. No matter which way I tried to do it, guess what? It always turned out, can anybody finish the sentence? It always turned out what? The same. Bad. In fact, progressive is one of the medical terms to describe the illness. Not only did it get bad, it kept getting worse. It got worse. There you go. I love it. It got worse. Yeah. Yeah. It got worse.
Yeah.
I was in my 16th year worth of using before I went to the penitentiary for the first time. I went in the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and the 20th year worth of using. Progressive illness. Yeah. Progressive. It got worse. It didn't get better. It got worse. So if the first step kind of throws you, continue to look at it. Focus on it. Powerless over my use. All right, well, you know what? After I looked at the facts, I had to come on in out the rain. You know what? That little pill the size of a pinhead had me, boy. It owned me. It had me literally spending $1,500 a day on it. I wouldn't even stop to eat. In fact, if you were stupid enough to give me your car, I left it right where it ran out of gas. You know that? Am I right? Anybody in here good for that one?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't putting none of my cop money in no gas tank. All right? Am I right? Yeah. Ain't got no time for that. Yeah. It literally was controlling me. And boy, it took a while for me to be able to accept that. That powerless piece was tough, all right? And my life had become unmanageable. Well, you know what? That went down a little smoother than the powerless piece did. Because actually all I had to do was start taking a look at my life, and I could clearly see I had been trying to manage it, but guess what? It was totally unmanageable. Totally unmanageable. And it didn't get no better. It got what? Worse. Right?